Hi everyone, welcome to the May 2025 edition of Poetry Superhighway Live. My name is Rick Lupert. I'm your MC for this afternoon of poetry. Great to have such a full house of folks here ready to go, ready to share some poems. We're going to get to you shortly. I want to let you know what's going on with Poetry Superhighway before we get going. We just finished National Poetry Month. We published a poetry writing prompt every single day, ended with one from Brendan Constantine. All of those prompts are available on our website. If you click under the special projects menu, you can see the 30 different poetry writing prompts, all of which were submitted by Poetry Superhighway readers. And in fact, it's archived all of those prompts from the last few years. So if you're looking for writing ideas, it's a great place to go and check it out. So thanks to everyone who submitted a writing prompt. Many of those prompts were all of those prompts were also posted on our Facebook page, and on the Facebook page, people were encouraged to write to take, if they wrote a poem to that prompt, to post it as a comment to that prompt. So many people did that. So if you're on our Facebook page, you can check it out and maybe even post your own things as well there if you choose to. We also just announced a week or two ago that we are accepting, seeking, eagerly hoping to find sponsors for our 27th annual poetry contest. And since we made that announcement, about 25 different sponsors have signed up and offered over 70 different prizes. Maybe it's up to like 75 or 76 at this point. The cool thing about that is when our contest launches, not only will someone win the contest, or 3 people will win and share all of the entry fees taken in, but every single person who enters the contest will get a prize just for entering, and all of those prizes come directly from the many people who sign up to be a sponsor. So right now is when we're looking for sponsors. If that's something you think you might want to do, by donating a book or books or services or a subscription or anything that you think would be specifically of interest to poets and writers, something that you think would be cool to receive, for example, since you're all poets here and watching probably, that's something you can donate. You'll get listed as a sponsor on the contest page, and you'll get a free classified ad in our weekly newsletter, which probably many of you already subscribe to, for the duration of the contest. That's like 3 months, 3+ months of advertising for that. All you have to do is agree that if it's a physical prize, that you will mail your prize directly out to whoever wins it. That could mean you're sending something to someone in a different country, more postage. Prizes are distributed randomly, and then of course just to notify me that you've sent it out, to avoid the annoying follow-up email phenomenon, which happens usually around the end of these projects. So there you go. That's everything going on in Poetry Superhighway world. Thrilled to have so many people for our open reading. I've got some people in the waiting room whose names I don't recognize, so I'm going to check in with them to see if we can add them. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to join in to read a poem, you can click on the link and feel free to join in. But make sure that your name is your full real name, and if you think I might not recognize that name because we haven't interacted or you haven't been here before, send me a message on Facebook or via email, just so I can confirm your identity and make sure we've got the right people in here to participate in the reading. As usual, open readers, you get to read one poem, and then we'll talk just a little bit about what's going on in your poetry world if you would like to share some news of any kind or things that you have going on. Also, just as a reminder, I know there's a few people here in the, maybe 1 or 2 who are already in the Zoom who didn't sign up in advance. So if you do want to read, you're more than welcome to. Just send me a message in the chat. That's how I'll know. Otherwise, I just assume you're here to listen and participate, or listen, and that's the way you're participating, and that's fine too, whatever you would like. I think that's everything I have to tell you. That was a lot of things coming out of my mouth here at the beginning of this reading. I tried to talk fast so it wouldn't be so painful. We got through it, people. We got through it. We're going to get onto our list. This is who I have signed up from the people who are here in this order: Jennifer, Phillips, Lorraine, McMillan, Christopher Bogart, Scott Norman Rosenthal, Rosemary Boehm, Amanda Harris, Lorraine Caputo, Gayle Bell, Diane, Elayne, Dees, Kathryn, Perkins, Kathryn, Paulsen, Duane, Herrmann. That's who I have on the list at this point. If you would like to be added, let me know. That means on deck is Lorraine McMillan, and please welcome now our first reader, Jennifer M. Phillips. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everyone. This poem is called Fireflies. Waiting for the Perseids, the odd trickle of light between domestic constellations, we're knee-high in field grass. Around us, the sky tucked in at all its edges. There is such expectation, like being 6 again on the way to the pony corral for a magical circle or two on a mythic back, anticipating our yearly intersection with the dust of this cosmic arena that we and it keep passing through. And there is one, drizzling down the east, evaporated quicker than wishes. Cassiopeia has no time to turn on her throne. And another, dripped and fizzled through the bottom of the Holy Dipper. What an affinity we have for particles finding their ending here, like tiny Vikings blazing out in their sea of night. Half an hour, nothing. A dud, you say, disappointed. Are those clouds coming? A short show of it. Sweet alfalfa must lifts on the breeze, sough and lash of grasses tickling our shins. And then begins the August girandole and glitter of fireflies, not falling, but rising in their thousands, seeking each other, the great desire, leaking in on our every side, as though through pinpricks from a brighter room. Our universe a dark lantern signaling. We too, prickles of light among signaling stars and fireflies, brighter and more lasting than we realize, and yes, even the dust. Thank you.
It all comes down to dust, Jennifer. I think we come from it. We're going back to it. We're trying to clean it up in between those two events. It's all about the dust. Thank you so much for opening up our reading. What's happening with you in poetry these days?
I am working on kind of assembling a next collection. I've got one that's jobbing around looking for the right publisher, and so it keeps me out of trouble. And the Cape is just beginning to wind up, so we'll be having, I'm sure, the various local poetry readings starting up after Memorial Day.
That's great. Well, that should keep you busy at least for a few weeks. With stuff. Get a good dustbuster. I think that'll take care of all of the issues that you're having otherwise. And thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Jennifer M. Phillips. Opening up the reading for us on deck is Christopher Bogart. Please welcome now Lorraine McMillan. Hello, Lorraine. Lorraine, are you there? You got to unmute.
Okay, here I go. I think I got it. No? Okay, you got it. Okay, my poem is called My Love, My Poem. There is love shown in writing a poem today, as I put in view for all to see. I'm also ready to take in the poems others care to share. This day is for many things to get done, but for me, always writing poetry is really fun. The words mean so much. I let the poetry take its course. Never do I need to add in some force. Writing poems is my real thing, as I wish I could also sing. Poetry is my gift. Sometimes the style does shift as I continue on with the next and the next as I feel blessed.
I bet you could sing, Lorraine. I bet you could. A lot of
It
people
could be
get told
singing.
when they're younger that they can't sing, but I think that's not true. Anyone can sing if they want to.
Thank you.
Maybe
I'll
next
work
week
on
you
that. I'll work on that.
do. Next week you can prepare a song for us if you'd
Okay.
like. What's going on in your poetry world?
Well, this might be too much information, but I had a problem with a poet friend because she's got too much ego going and she doesn't listen to me. And we had some words thrown at each other through text. And so that's okay if I don't ever hear from her again. That's okay because I'm tired of her knowing everything and she doesn't know everything. Not that I know everything, but anyway, that's my story.
Well, that's a tough thing to have to go through. I hope hope you get through it, and it sounds like you're dealing with it okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, Lorraine, thank you so much for being here. Looking forward to hearing your song next month. Round of applause for Lorraine McMillan. On deck is Scott Norman Rosenthal. We've got a couple other people who've joined. Just a reminder, if you would like to read and you haven't explicitly told me so, please let me know in the chat that you'd like to read, and I'm more than happy to add you to the list. On deck, Scott Norman Rosenthal. Please welcome now Christopher Bogart. Hello, Christopher.
Hello, Rick. Let me get right to it. This is a poem called Pay No Attention to That Man Behind the Curtain. And it's got an epigraph. Before there was Donald Trump's big lie, there was George W. Bush's big lie. And that's from Mother Jones, March 20th, 2023. When Toto pulled back the curtain of lies, that thin veil that protected the elusive wizard and the terrible truth about Oz, his response to the end of this artful deception was one very simple reply: pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. The world of that wizard invades our world now, not by tornadoes, but by firestorms of war, by hurricanes, and by political attack, and all under cover of the same artful deception, woven thick in the same thin curtain of lies. Don't ask questions, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. When the Washington crowd 20 years before now was prepared for war, we searched high and low for an old smoking gun, like the cause to unleash shock and awe. Instead, we were told if we didn't act bold, we'd be seeing a mushroom cloud. WMD, meant for you and for me. Better sound the alarm, sell the house and the farm. Wait a minute. Mushrooms don't grow in the sands of Iraq. And if they did, for crying out loud, burning all the mushrooms in all of Iraq wouldn't let off a puff of smoke. Was this some kind of joke? Well, 20 years later, on January 6th, another slick liar, a grifter, a don, created another con, made with smoke and with mirrors, and with so many, and were so many lies more than they were once told before. Don't ask questions. Best pay attention to that man behind the curtain.
Christopher, great job. I assume is that from the Silences Consent anthology? Is that another one? No.
No, this is one that I didn't put in.
Well, I guess this is work that is ongoing. I'm sure you're kind of realizing as you've got that book out into the world that that more material is still being created and generated to lend voice to that need, I guess, is a way to put it. What would you like to tell us? What's going on with you in poetry?
Well, what I wanted to say is, if you'll let me share the screen, is that we are going to be starting a reading. I don't know, once a month, twice at the most, and it will be for the 83 Poets in Silence's consent, and the reading is going to be called, if I can find it, here it is. The reading is going to be called Breaking the Silence. And Richard Spisak helped me to put this together. But what we'd like to do is we'd like to give the poets who are in this, and I think there might be 4 of them in the room. You and I, and Jennifer, and I see Austin Alexis. So there's at least 4 of us that I know that are in the room, that are in the book. It's selling very well. It's sold 125 or 130 copies on Amazon alone so far, and I'm very proud of it. I think that it's a great job, and I'm so glad to see that poets have spoken out. Anyhow, thank you very much.
Christopher, thank you, and not just for your poem today, but for all the work that you're doing. And I think the ACLU is a great cause to receive the proceeds from this, and just such important work that you're doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Christopher Bogart. Oops. On deck is Rosemary Boehm. Please welcome now Scott Norman Rosenthal. Hello, Scott.
Here it goes. Okay. All right. I have one that I'm premiering here. Well, sort of. Yeah, I do. But I'm going to do this one, which is older and has been expanded. Just today. Blindness within. Blazing from the east, blinds the young, bewilders the old. The bulk of the orange-haired ogre shelters the children. People do because they can. People die. They must. Sometimes there is nowhere but here. History shelters all. The emperor parades. The naked mobs are screaming as they pursue him. Do I have time for a second?
No, everyone gets one poem at this event, Scott. So thank you
for. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, there you go. Nice one though. Anything you want to let us know going on in your poetry world?
Not exactly, except that people are getting upset at my politics, and some people are not.
Well, it sounds like you're having the same experience as every human being in that sense. But very good. Well, I hope you get through it, and thank you so much for being here. And I appreciate your poem and your presence.
I'm working on a video, very modest at first, about a 2-minute, 3-minute ballad that I composed. So that's going to happen, I hope.
Cool. Well, good luck with it. That sounds like a
Thank
good
you.
project to be involved with. All right. Thank you, Scott. Round of applause for Scott. Norman Rosenthal. On deck, Amanda Harris. Please welcome now Rosemary Boehm. Hello, Rosemary.
Hello, everyone. I have one that is a few years old, and I think it's from my book, Whistling in the Dark, and it's called Collector of Days. An old man stooped, a black suit, cardboard collar, a gray beard, glasses over sad, sunken eyes, a much-fingered wooden box, an old, dark shop, antique clocks, hesitant chimes. The old man buys days, dog days, death days, murderers' ones. The day a woman caused her lover's death, the night a father witnessed his daughter's suicide, the afternoon a mother helplessly watched her small son drown, the day the earth stood still. All come to him to sell their worst days and nights, 24 hours. He takes them off their hands. He guards them in the box, cherishes the treasures it contained, strokes it gently before he settles for the night, but he doesn't sleep. His clients forget their transaction. Men and women wonder where Tuesday has gone, a Monday, a Wednesday, or a Friday, or what the matron down the road, why the matron down the road is dressed up to go to church on a Saturday. Emptiness accompanies the collector. His clocks ring hollow. The light stops at the dirt-covered windows. His hunger never sated. Some days cannot be bought. Thank you.
It's good to know because I'm running out of money to purchase days and time, Rose. How's everything with you in poetry?
Oh, I am having a chapbook coming out in June. It's called The Matter with Words. I played with strange and wonderful words and made poems for them so that we don't forget what they mean. And I have another manuscript, full-length manuscript finished, and now it's looking for somebody who is willing to give it a home. Let's see how many rejections I get, and I'll tell you all about them the next time we meet.
Please do. Very good. Well, good luck with that. The
Thank
way you
you.
worded it, you made it seem like the manuscript was on its own looking for a home out there, and
It
maybe
is.
it would report back to you, how it's doing. So,
It
I
will
hope
do.
it's eating. All right, Rosemary. Thanks so much for being here. Round of applause for Rosemary Boehm. On deck is Lorraine Caputo. Please welcome now Amanda Harris. Hello, Amanda.
Hello. All right. I'm just gonna jump right into it. Okay. Mr. Lazarus. 1. This story is about the book you'll never finish. 2. In this story, the villain throws a hard fruit at your head for a publicity stunt. So this is how it sounds, he'll think to himself years later, when memory breaks, when your language is broken. 3. In this story, the villain makes family out of everything he touches. Even after the fruit incident, he hugs you and you cannot help but forgive, forgive, forgive. 4. The first rule of writing is forgiveness. 5. In this story, the villain is a teenage runaway looking for work. You say yes, but he is dirty and strange, and you cannot accept the fact that someone who looks the way he does could be Canadian, so you give him a new ethnicity. 6. In this story, the villain plays your national anthem on bagpipes. This is the trick I learned from my bandmates back home, he says afterwards, but you only hear $7. In this story, the villain eats you like air.
That's a great last line, Amanda. I really dug that. Well done.
Thank you.
What's happening with you in poetry?
Sending my stuff out there. I have also been getting into performance art, so that's been really fun for me.
That's give us an example of the kind of stuff you're doing.
Um, Let me see if I could think of a prop, like pretend you're building a wall. I'm trying to make it politically oriented.
That's cool. So a lot of visual kind of
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, good luck with that, and thank you so much for coming back and reading again.
Mm-hmm.
We'll expect regular attendance going forward forever, just so you know. Round of applause for Amanda Harris. Thank you, Amanda. On deck, Gayle Bell. Please welcome now Lorraine Caputo. Hello, Lorraine.
Hello. This poem is called The Beginnings of May, 1997. With the beginnings of May, hopes and dreams drift on vernal breezes. 111 years ago, the 1st of May, workers were striking in Chicago for the 8-hour workday. The Chicago Mail said, if trouble should occur, make an example of Albert Parsons and August Bees. The 3rd of May, in front of the McCormick Harvester Works, the police opened fire. Strikers ran for their lives. Many were wounded, 4 were dead. The 4th of May, a demonstration. Chicago police and military arrived. In the name of the state of Illinois, disperse. A bomb exploded. Agent provocateur, and the agents of repression shot. When the gun smoke cleared and the streets streamed with blood, the oppressor's history recorded how many of their agents died. And lost to our memory, buried beneath their dreams, we do not know how many of us died. Parsons and Spees and 6 others anarchist labor leaders were arrested. Only one was at Haymarket, speaking with the bomb blew. Their crime, their literature. They were tried, convicted, 4 executed, 1 killed himself. After several years of worldwide protest, the other 3 were pardoned. All around the world on May 1st, workers remember those martyrs of Haymarket Square. They know our history, but here the silence suppresses our knowledge. It is not our Labor Day. It is not a historical site, just a barren concrete space caught between train station and highway, ensnared by the snarled, chaotic web of modern traffic of capitalist life here. Another beginning of May, 27 years ago, campuses across our nation erupted into pain shared with Cambodians and Vietnamese. There, people died because US corporate government bombs, because of greed and ethnocentrism. There, our brothers and friends died, drafted into the slavery of war. President Nixon and Attorney General Mitchell said an example should be made to silence those young voices. At Kent State, the ROTC barracks had been firebombed, but by whom? After days of Northeast Ohio rains, no Molotov cocktail could have ignited those old wooden buildings. But an agent provocateur succeeded. Governor Rhodes sent the guard out. And on this May 4th, 27 years ago, 4 died at Kent State, another 8 wounded, 1 who would die a few years later, and 2 killed at Jackson State, Mississippi. All told, 14 dead on 9 campuses within days nationwide at the hand of the police, National Guard militia, at the hands of agents of repression. Forgotten beneath layers of denial, suppression, buried away, hidden away. Today, in the soft light of a cool late spring morning, I read the wobbly paper. I noticed that Judy Berry died, a IWW union organizer, Earth's first activist, tireless toiling to protect our Mother Earth and the workers. An Arizona car bomb lifted her and Daryl Cheney out of her Volkswagen Bug. Skyward they flew, greatly injured after numerous death threats. No, you terrorists were going to bomb and made a mistake, said the agents of repression. But no, FBI, you know the truth and will not let us know. You know corporate government, who the real criminal is. And after several years of living with those wounds that would not still her voice, her hopes, her dreams, Judy Berry has died. The beginnings of May, when hopes and dreams of workers, union organizers, anti-war activists, environmentalists sprout in the northern sun to face the US corporate government. The agents provocateurs set the bombs and the agents of repression opened fire each and every time. The blood of our martyred brothers and sisters bathed the awakening earth. The agents shoveled and shoveled the toxic waste of their capitalism upon these memories, burying them from our grasp, our understanding, burying our birthright created with our voices and actions. But we are clearing away the trash and carrying the glimmers of the martyrs' hopes and songs of their voices into the sun, nourishing and celebrating, cultivating their dreams, our dreams. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lorraine. Epic poem that you shared with us with some wonderful usage of French and a French accent, I might add, as well, in the middle of there. Anything happening with you in poetry you want to let us know about?
Well, hopefully this month, a chapbook of my poetry will be released by Dancing Girl Press. It's called Orinoco Plains. And also Origami Poems Project has just accepted another micro chap of my poetry that's called A Day in the Life, Quito Chronicles.
Cool. Well, you've got some good stuff going on there, and much success to you with those projects. And thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you, Rick. And thank you all.
Sure. Round of applause for Lorraine Caputo. Thank you, Lorraine. On deck, Diane, Elayne, Dees. Please welcome now Gayle Bell. Hi, Gayle.
Hi there, folks. This is called, first of all, Fire, Lorraine. Thank you. Don't you just want to? I have questioned this time many times. What is this hold, this melody? Self-inflicted blues wail into the night. Your smell surrounds me. I've given to strangers for some or a repast, or because it was Friday, and the cat prowled restless. Wiser friends tried to prevail. I tell them sometimes, don't you just want to? When you know it's a sheer drop from the jazz note of B flat, when you know it's hot but you want the burn. I've chased windmills, Quixote, but you ride a deuce and a quarter. I inhale the dust your kiss left. Not sad, for I know where that lies. But for my troubles, dear Jen, or a country hate that put roots on me. Don't you just want to? Don't you just want that time replayed when eyes narrowed, you claimed that part of me? I realize that's not political, but hey, I got to read them sometime.
You're the second person to sort of identify a default theme, but there's no official theme. You can read anything that you want. This is a poetry venue, not a political venue. If people happen to read political poems, that's okay. No problem. I'm going to be reading a poem later that I just wrote in Italy while having a good time. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
So it's okay. Art. This is about the art, and you can
Yes,
do with what you
indeed.
want. Gayle, glad you made it today. What's going on with you in poetry?
Well, as you well know, I'm actually this week working on the 10-year novel that may take 10 more years. This is still the first draft. I'm still working on it, but baby, I'm still working on it. And my Stick Dancers fan, I might put this one that I just read in there because it's not like that other poetry chapbook, which I dearly love. Sold a whole bunch. In fact, my mom bought one and my daughter bought one. But anyhow, that's it for me, y'all.
Very good, Gayle. That was plenty from you. I would say. I mean that in a good way, by the way. I'm glad you made it again. I know there was a thought that you might not be able to be here, so glad it worked out. Thanks so much. Round of applause for Gayle Bell. On deck, Kathryn Perkins. Please welcome now Diane, Elayne, Dees. Hello, Diane.
Hi, Rick. I'm going to read a poem called Rooney Mara's Eyes. Rooney Mara's eyes have seen things that are not written in screenplays. They have seen beyond arrogance and insults, torture and secrets, broken trust, in the hidden pages of medical manuals. They have absorbed more than the obscene pictures that can never be erased from the terrifying stories women dare to whisper, more than the isolated pain of forbidden love. They are not pools, rather they are caves, weathered by ancient rock formations, home to the artifacts that define who we are and who we have always been. Artifacts whose stories all reside in Rooney Mara's eyes.
Rooney Mara, the actress, is that right? Yeah, that's cool. See, not political, unless there's hidden messages in those eyes. I don't know. Very cool, Diane. Thank you so much for sharing that. What's happening with you in poetry?
Well, more than a few years ago, I announced on here that I had a chapbook coming out, and I still remember it because you made me laugh so hard when I said it. And let's just say that I learned what publishers to avoid. That turned out to be a nasty experience, and it wasn't published, and I put it aside and really wasn't sure what to do. And then much later, I expanded it. And after I expanded it, it found a home immediately. So it will be coming out sometime this summer, June or July.
Cool. Well, live and learn, I guess. Sorry you had a bad experience with a publisher. I guess we have to remember, so many of us small publishers are often just like, one person running a show, and that one person may not be the best person to do the thing, and their sensibility may not be your sensibility, and they may have bitten off more than they can chew. So live and learn and move forward, and it sounds like it's working out.
Yes.
All right.
It'll be published by Kelsey, so we know everything is good.
Very good. Okay, cool. Well, keep us up to date, and I will try to find other ways to make you laugh vigorously for God knows when.
I need it, yeah.
And thanks for being here. Round of applause for Diane, Elayne, Dees. On deck, Kathryn Paulsen. Please welcome now Kathryn Perkins. Hello, Kathryn.
Hello. So I have a problem with decisions. Do you want a peacock poem, a political poem, or a poem that was published in twice the end of last year? All right. Since the peacock's up, we'll go with it. It's breeding season. This is in my only collection called Utter Uproar, and you can find it at Amazon's, and it's also Accents Publishing sells it. And this is called The Cock's Cry. I rushed toward the pleas for help, help, help. I almost get hit by a speeding car careening down my narrow street. I hear help, help, help over there and behind my back and from the roof of a barn and from a limb of a tree. Which tree? I can't see where all the help hollowing he's are hiding. Two cocks indulge in simultaneous screams. screeches ricochet. I don't know who to seduce, but seduced I must, as I am in lust. 3 seconds of silence, then a sudden burst of deep throat rolling, ah, ah, captures my ears to turn my eyes to the glistening, shimmering fool, staring at his reflection in the attic window on the gray shingled roof. Another round of cock calls come from a 6-foot-tailed fowl perched on a bur oak limb. He looks strong. I am as drawn to him as he is to himself. I let him know I am near, down here, in the yard, staring up at him. But he doesn't hear. To hell with that narcissist. I switch my fascinations to the twerking, eye-filled fanny that magically appears a few feet from my face. Thick stick legs scratch and tap, a long arched blue neck blinds. His flutter of feathers vibrate my cloaca. So I stand and wait, and I wait, and I wait, and I wait, and I whisper, hey, cock on the block, I'm no ordinary peahen. I am the sole hidey hen hole in this hood. Let's kiss, I hiss. But the long-tailed beauty is too busy with his help, helps, and dance to notice I am entranced. Fed up with these self-absorbed cock's antics, I chortle no way and scamper off to the other side of the big white shed where elect of blue necks rest. These young males have shorter tails, tinier spurs, and leaner limbs, but I am the center of 4 cocks' attentions. I kiss the entire lot, yet regret the first 2 handsome Indian cocks were so in love with themselves because I could have had a perfect score.
Kathryn, probably my favorite line, only because it describes most of my 20s, was I don't know who to seduce. So just it was kind of just a try everything situation. What a great and immersion into the world of peacock mating season you've given us there. Thank you so much.
Thank
What's
you.
happening? What's happening with you in poetry?
Well, I'm trying to overcome my aversion for submission, although I submit all the time, daily, and just about everything I do. But I thought I would have a second collection compiled by the end of the winter, but alas, I do not. I beat myself up too much. I over edit, over revise, and throw my hands up and walk away. So I'd like to do another collection. I too write a lot of poems about words, and I had thought of a collection of words, my word poems, but it's a little massive. So
Well, you could make it a 2-volume set, I'd have to say. And one thing I've learned from watching the show Game of Thrones is that winter is coming. It'll be back. So you could always say, "Well, I meant next winter anyway," and you should be fine.
thank you for that vote of confidence.
No problem. Thank you for
I'll
being
be
here.
fine regardless. So
Okay,
I
good.
know.
Glad to hear it. Well, thank you for being here today. Please come back and read again for us.
Well, thank you, and I enjoy your newsletter. And one of our local poets, a friend of mine, was published in your one of your whatever, Dudley Stone. I think you published 3 or 4 of his poems. I'm not sure. So that's how I got hooked up with you. Not literally.
And we're back to the
sorry.
peacock poem. I see. Kathryn, you're going to find success in everything that you do, I sense. I'm going to thank you so much again for being here. I'm glad you found us, and please come back and read more for us. Round of applause for Kathryn Perkins. We're going to continue our Kathryn phase of the event today. We'll say Duane Herrmann is on deck. Please welcome now Kathryn Paulsen. Hello, Kathryn.
Hello. Yeah, so I resisted the temptation to read a political poem, and rather am reading something from my chapbook, Catch of the Night. Be forewarned, it's a sestina, the only one I ever wrote, although I now and then am on the verge of succumbing to temptation again. Anyway, it's called To Dream. On her bedside table sits an inlaid box. She thinks she should empty it of its shells and empty him who gave it from her dreams. Close at hand, that card with long-necked bird, circled by palms. Well, let it stand, if only for a concealed word. Love, or is it life? She thinks she needs more order in her life. Socks in baskets, letters in a box. But what to do with all those other words on bits of paper, shoes and ships and shells, hearts and flowers, love and balls and palms. Scrawls searched for meaning later, elusive as dreams. He says, the problem is that I don't dream of you. Daydream, that is. I can't imagine life with you in 6 months, 6 years, amid palms in California, snow in New Hampshire, in some tent or hut or box of a house in Africa, anywhere. But keep the shells. They're yours for life, my gift to you. I toss the words. Why give yourself misery over words that mere feelings failed to dream up to? Although you hardly need these shells, I've seen your hordes of others. They must mean life to you, swimming over tabletops, in drawers, in other boxes than mine. I've watched you hold round shells on your flat palms. She longs to rub him all over, all his skin with her palms. She wonders how much of love is words and how much touch. She wants to squeeze his face and box his ears. Something these nights won't let her dream of anything like him. Life boils down to miniature, sand and grass and shell. They walked along the ocean, picking shells, found a bone could hold a candle, like a palm curled into a fist. Now isn't this life and fine, she thought. But other words were growing. Call them love, and they will come dreaming, find their cold memorial in a box. Sad to forget, worse to remember, worst of all to dream. Till words are sea changed. Life's behind the shelf, the poet said. Open the box, spill shells into our palms.
Well done, Kathryn. My friend, the poet Brendan Constantine, once described as Sestina as a form of literary torture. So it's quite a thing to succumb to its temptation, I guess, and get one done. Nice job.
Usually I confine myself to the occasional villanelle, which is a little similar, but like Minnie.
There you go. Minnie is good. Anything going on in your poetry world you want to tell us about?
Well, the chapbook that To Dream is the longest poem in, all about dreams, and that's from Bottle Cap Press. Link is in the chat, and The Poetry Habit from Claire Songbirds. I might have read a little something from that before, and you know, sending out collections, other chapbooks, individual poems, a few small things published recently, and working on as I answered the comment about the 10-year novel. I also write fiction, and yeah, and now and then I think something is done a long time before it's actually done. And in this case, I'm going back to something that is a tremendous amount of work, and but things like politics keep interfering with it.
The world is making everything less fun. I'd have to say, I agree with you there. Well, Kathryn, good luck with all that. At least it's keeping you busy and off the streets. And
Exactly. Or on the streets for the occasional march, but
sure, yeah, on the streets as appropriate. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks again.
Round of applause for Kathryn Paulsen. Thank you, Kathryn. That officially ends the Kathryn phase of the afternoon. New feature we're trying here on Poetry Superhighway Live. On deck, Maria Maglas. Please welcome now Duane Herrmann. Hello, Duane.
Hi there. I'd like to read. It's a rather short poem, but I think it's rather profound, and I'm kind of proud of it actually. It's in this anthology that just came out. It's called "Finding Earth." We thought we were going to the moon, but found the earth instead. Blue-white ball suspended alone and single, an expanse of empty space. One home for one mankind. We are one together. And this was from the website or blog. The short of it, I write her, and she makes an anthology at the next year. And surprised me for National Poetry Month, another site, Zingara Poetry, posted prompts, and then they posted good examples that answered those prompts. And she pulled one of my poems from several years ago. So I was really nice. I've not been a good example before, so this was a pleasing surprise.
Do you think it was a mistake?
It could have been, yes, probably.
I'm just kidding, of course. Duane, congrats on that. Good success there, and I'm glad you found the Earth. If you could just maybe share the information with the rest of us, so we could get there if we need to.
Yeah,
that would be really helpful as well.
Would be nice. Would be nice.
All right, Duane. Well, thank you so much for being here. Congrats on all that stuff, and everyone makes mistakes. What can you just go with it?
That's right.
And that's how it is. Right. Round of applause for Duane L. Herrmann. Thank you, Duane.
Thank you.
On deck, Aaliyah El-Amin. Please welcome now Marieta Maglas. Hello, Marieta.
Hello. I have a poem which is published in Silver Birch Press. The Edelweiss. My gaze ascends the mountain slope toward the peak, contemplating the life paths, self-reflexive, apogee of spiritual evolution. The Edelweiss blooms resemble fallen stars or echoes of old noble feelings, love, purity, a longing for peace, grace, and resilience. Above all, a broken blue stretches across the horizon, ozone layer depletion, erupting volcanoes, tornadoes, blizzards. A blue seemingly unbreakable, hollow, hollowed, infinite. Sacred skies cradle blossoms that form white constellations. Each Edelweiss is a lion's paw to carve a delicate design into the shimmering frost. Clouds in the mist to disorient the ill-willed spirits. Each Edelweiss enchants the untamed wilderness. It is cloaked in glistening furs to capture the sorrowful air, yearning for breaths of fresh oxygen, embracing the sun like sunflowers, steadfast against the blazing rays. Male blooms with their nonsensical pistils, and their female counterparts, bearing indifferent stamens, stand as quiet eyewitnesses of nature's vagaries. In this vibrant realm, I have never plucked any flower. All of them continue to flourish in my dreams. I must specify that for the males, the pistils are not useful, and for the female, the stamens are not useful. They are hybrid.
Well, thank you not only for the poem, but for the botany information that you've given us as well. Thank you for that. Thank you for being here. What anything you want to let us know going on in your poetry world?
Yes. I have 2 poems against communism that have been published in Orange is Not a Color anthology, and the poem published in the Centenary Poems for Richard Barton, and 2 poems in Poetry for the People anthology online, and some other poems selected to be published in some other anthologies soon.
Really cool. Well, congrats. That's quite a lot of success happening around now for you. So
It's
well
a
done.
hobby, a pleasure. I don't search for success.
Well, it seems to have arrived regardless. So well done, Marieta. Always appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Marieta Maglas, reading to us from France. Thank you for being here. On deck, Principe, Guity Jr. Please welcome now Aaliyah El-Amin. Hello, Aaliyah.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and read my poem. It's the title of my poem is called The Weight of Flight. In the end, we are all fatherless, and in the beginning, featherless, soft and jaybird ready for all the world. It's the groin that begins to cover us, stubby and prickly like fangs taking root. Sometimes we have to let the wind sweep us back to where we started, unsnarled, our breath from its coop, unhinge ourselves from the herons, veil-footed lurking and stomping, then leap and glide beside crow and robin, resurrect, colliding with our RV halos, chase the sun and hold on to the stars, dance over the dangling dark water, death pulling in the corners of the sky. Thank you.
Nice piece, Aaliyah. Where are you reading to us from?
Oh, from Maryland.
Maryland. Nice. Anything happening with you in poetry you want to tell us about?
Just some local pieces selected for some of the county publications. Also, the Stafford anthology is coming out soon, so we're allowed to announce that. So I'll be in that as well.
Congrats. That's really cool. Well, I'm glad you found us. Please come back and read for us again. Round of applause for Aaliyah. Aaliyah El-Amin, thanks for being here. I've got a few more on the list. Principe, Richard Widerkher, Daniel Abernathy, and me. If I missed anyone or if anyone would like to be added, now's your last chance to let me know. That means Richard Widerkher, you're on deck. Please welcome now Principe Guity Jr. Hello, Principe.
Hello. I'll be reading this poem called "Is in Praise" by Charles Bukowski. Mr. Bukowski doesn't write about himself every time, or poetically wax on nature, the trees and all. No erotica from the man. I scroll my eyes through the white space he doesn't use. His placement is like cursive, hardly used. Bukowski never wrote of a joyful childhood. He had medium-sized poems, though it never stuffed on computers and notebooks at work. Bukowski never wrote about the goals he yearned for. His heart never lacked love outside the womb. The simplicity in his poetry and the bullet striking the tip of the bone. His poetry, the poem's honesty. Never has he started writing at a never has he started writing as an adult. Plenty of people travel away from the creative path. Once they start, their feelings are like poured wine. The words become a passport traveling for decades. Bugowski, who managed to put the pen down for a year, came back to reach the pinnacle of success. Thank you.
Principe, thank you. You're always reading to us from your car. Are you like you out there like driving around, or do you just just get in the car to have a quiet space to read?
I'm at work.
And we're your lunch break, as it were. Principe, thank you so much for taking time out to be here. Anything you want to share with us going on in your poetry world?
Recently I got submitted for a publication. My poetry got accepted into it in anthropology recently.
That's great. Congrats on that, man. Well, cool. Keep it up. Thanks for using your break to be with us, and thank you for your poem.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Principe Guity Jr. On deck, Daniel Abernathy. Please welcome now Richard Widerkher. Hello, Richard.
Okay, I think I am unmuted. Can you hear me? Thank you. This is a few pages long. I'll just start. Killing the Goat. Dr. Q speaks at the Oak Leaf Writers Conference. I killed the goat so I could put it in my poem. My family was not poor. We didn't need the meat. You think I was poor? I wasn't. I didn't tell you this when I told the story last year. Killing the goat wasn't some crazy manhood ritual like you thought. Yes, I told the events a different way last time. That was then, this is now. You see, a poem isn't just a poem, it's what you can make it mean. So it means different things at different times, depending. What I said about how I didn't want to kill the goat, that wasn't true. My friend in the poem, the one who told me, it's okay if your hands shake, but if they tremble every time you have to kill a goat, your hands will turn into sticks and your heart will be a frozen river. I made him up too. No, it was not my friend who said that. That was me. It's what I told myself when I killed the goat so I could write about it and put it in my poem. You stood and cheered when I read you that story. Some of you thanked me for being honest. That's funny. Honest. What do you expect from a fiction writer? I tell the truth a different way each time. And each time it's true, just as true as the last time. Maybe truer. You get better if you practice. So I lied. You thought I was telling a story about being human, sharing secrets of my craft. You took notes. That's funny too. Craft is what a killer learns when he goes up to the goat, talking softly, hiding the knife behind his back. Just don't think you're so different from me. You have all snuck up on someone once or twice. Maybe you put your hands over someone's eyes and said, "Guess who?" Or maybe you pulled a chair out from behind your friend as he sat down back when you were kids. It was funny, right? And maybe later you felt bad, even though you did not kill someone. Maybe you lied once. Maybe you turned against a friend. Maybe you let someone down. Maybe you said you could not help when you could have helped. Same difference. So don't think you're not like me, even though you'd never killed someone. Did I really kill someone? That's funny too. Sure, I wanted to, just as you have. And maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't remember. There's so much I can't remember. After all, I was tortured a long time in the prison in J. period. Maybe I did kill someone and they had it coming, and maybe I'm braver than you. I faced what I feared. Not like you wannabes out there, you Sunday writers who say you want to stand at the lectern, sipping bottled water. And here's the part you don't want to hear, you're too scared to hear. If you want to be a writer, you do have to kill someone, kill something. Kill a goat, kill a man, kill a woman, same difference. The point we're talking about is killing, and that's what you have to do each time you tell your story. Kill your mother, kill your father, kill your children, kill your dreams of being who you thought you were. They're expendable. Kill your first love. If your story isn't more important than all of them, and you cannot stand up and tell it, you have to learn power and grace, and for that you need a certain perspective on what's expendable, what's collateral damage, what matters. Do that and you can make people weep. The blood on your hands makes your story more real each time you tell it. It's the same blood, but it gets redder. The screams and bleats get louder as you learn to keep your voice soft and low. See, it wasn't a goat I killed. Maybe he was a Jew. Maybe it was more than one Jew. Maybe it was 6 million. What's the difference? Blood is blood. We're not talking higher mathematics, but murder, the principle of murder. So I make things up. Maybe I kill people. Maybe I don't. You decide. But I don't go back on first principles. So just as my good friends, the Christians, say you have to die to be reborn, so you have to lie if you want to tell the truth. You have to kill to write. So make up your mind. Do you need to write? Look into my eyes and tell me. Look as if it's the last time as I pull the knife from behind my back. Go ahead and scream. I'll put it in my next poem. You should have listened when I said Ahmadinejad had as much right to have the bomb as we do. You should have paid attention when I said the reason the whole world's against Israel is because they've become Nazis, identifying with their one-time persecutors. They practice apartheid. Their checkpoints are apartheid. Zionism is racism. The whole world knows this, just as they know the Jews were warned not to come to work at the Twin Towers on 9/11. It's on the internet. It's on Al Jazeera every day. You say I hate the Jews. That's funny. I don't hate the Jews. I don't even hate you. See how clean my knife is when justice is finally done?
Wow, Richard, quite a piece you shared with us, and I think all of us in the room survived. So at least that's one less thing to worry about in terms of killing us. Well done, very powerful piece that you gave to us today.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, thank you. Poetry contest season is coming up, and you were a winner of one of the Poetry Superhighway contests of the past and served as a judge. Are you excited about that coming up?
What's been on my mind this week? I will think about it, but to tell you the truth, I turned 79 years old this week, and I've had, 4 books published in the last 7 years, so I've kept busy in my doddering old age, and my 5th book is called Missing the Owl. It came out from Shanty Arts Publications, which I recommend if they've treated me very well. This is the 2nd book I've done with them. And what else is coming up? I'm trying to put together a new and selected poems, but it's been harder than I thought. So I'm kind of stumped on that, but I will try again.
Well, keep at it. Happy birthday, and
Thank you,
kudos
Rick.
to you on all of the recent success that you've had. I'm glad you're an ongoing participant in the stuff that we do with Poetry Superhighway, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Rick. You do a really good thing here.
Thank you very much. Glad to have you part of it. Round of applause for Richard Widerkher, 89 years young this week and still at it. More to come from Richard. On deck, Judy Barrat. Please welcome now Daniela Abernathy. Hello, Daniela.
Hey, Rick. I'm thankful that you allowed me into the Poetry Superhighway. It's something that I've been monitoring for quite some time, usually months afterwards, but I'm really happy to be here today. I'm going to read you a poem from my last chapbook called Categories Beyond Classification. The name of the poem is I'm Missing. I'm missing the bump start breakfast of thick sliced bacon, caffeine, nicotine, and Jack Daniels in my coffee, hot, without cream. I'm missing the long, wide open days of crosstops, window pane, cheap grass, even cheaper beer, and the road trips isolated from all that is. I'm missing the carefree evenings that turned into dawn, tequila shots, loud music that made you dance, the pretty girls that lived to live, and the ones that had misplaced the word commonly known as no. I'm missing the understanding that has come to this. Stiffness and pain when I stand up, a constant buzzing in my ears, weight that seems to be here to stay, and hair that won't. Rice and fruit in the mornings, salads at night, and cheap wine from a black box just because it's easier. I'm missing the mishaps and adventures awakening the reason why I write. The constant stream of thoughts that tumble from my existence, that ones that are ruled by none, while wondering if someday, perhaps, you'll miss them too. Thank you.
Dan, sorry, I called you Daniela because I misread the way that your name is in the displayed in the chat. Daniel Abernathy, not Daniela Bernathy. So apologies for that.
Oh, you're good, man. It's good.
Happy to have you here. Where are you reading to us from?
Pinedale, Wyoming.
Oh, cool. All right. Anything? What's it like with poetry there? Or is there anything going on in your neighborhood, or what's happening with you?
You know, I live in a really small place. I travel a lot, but it's pretty small here. But there's some stuff going on. I'm coming out with a new chapbook. I'd rather be consumed by moss. That should be out before too long. And I just have a new commitment to get my voice out there, even more so than I do. And that's why I jumped on the board with you today, because you're a stepping stone in what I want to do.
I'm glad to be stepped on, Daniel. Thanks for being
Stepped
here.
on lightly.
Yeah, I love the title. That I'd rather be covered with moss. That's a great thing to think about and say out loud. Well done. Well, good luck with it, and please continue to step on us going forward. Come back and read more for us.
I will try to do so. Thank you so much, Rick.
Sure. First time here, Daniel Abernathy, no relation to Daniela Bernathy, as far as I know. They might be good friends, though. We'll find out at another time. Thanks for being here. All right, I'm on deck to close out the reading. Please welcome now Judy Barrat. Hi, Judy. Judy, are you there? You got to unmute. Judy Barrat. Well, gosh, I don't know what happened with Judy, so I guess I will just close out the reading with my poem. There you go. It says, host won't let me unmute. Oh, there you go. You are unmuted.
There I am. Okay. Yeah, it kept popping that up. Anyway, this is called The Labyrinth. In the early years, we searched for our perfect life path, unsure of our final destination. Though our vision was a bit clouded, we were completely blinded by those who could not see. We stumbled, bewildered and alone, in shadows of a never-ending maze, until, with time and good fortune, our hearts spoke loudly to us and said, "Don't let the darkness steal your light." The heaving breath of fear slowed. The cessity of confusion slowly morphed into awareness, and all the ill-conceived logic and contrived reason became dislodged. Ineptly placed pieces of the grand puzzle that is life began to fit together to create a clearer perspective. And though we cautiously felt our way, we trusted that soon we would intuit the proper path.
Cool. Well, have you made it on that proper path yet, Judy?
I'm working on it, Rick. I think hopefully have a few years left.
Yes. Yeah, the important thing is not to get to the end of the path. It's just to be on a path. So there you go. What's going on with you in poetry?
Let's see, I'm doing a lot of poetry with music, and I've done a couple of shows at a club in West Hollywood, and I have a big book coming out hopefully soon. It's called While the Candle Burns.
Sweet. Well, it's nice to see you.
Nice to see
Judy
you
is
as well.
someone who I used to see in person around LA back when we used to do crazy things like go to in-person poetry readings, etc. I'm really more talking about myself here, but it's nice to see you in this space. Thanks for being here. Round of applause for Judy Barrat. All right, folks, I'm going to close out the reading with one poem. I've been reading over the last year from this book, It's Spritz O'Clock Somewhere, poems that I wrote 2 summers ago when I got to go to Italy and Paris. And this poem, almost have my next book out, which is going to be called High Moose Alert, poems written in Alaska and Canada last summer. Just dotting all the T's and crossing the I's. I think that's why it's taking longer than I want it there. But on that one, that'll be out in a little bit. But this is a poem I wrote from It's Spritz O'Clock Somewhere after we had returned home to Los Angeles. It's called Digestif. Here in Los Angeles, I am wearing a t-shirt I put on yesterday in Paris. Socks, too. I was awake for 24 hours, and although my head's eyes first opened in France, they didn't close until my head hit the pillow in Southern California. They want to close again now because the world is large and divided by a daylight and a night that circle the world and appear differently to everyone depending on where they are. I'm barely aware of what o'clock it is and trying to stay awake as if I've always been here. Tomorrow we pick up the child from the hills. We're going to measure the sound when he returns so we can document the difference between then and now. Enjoy this last page. I'll write more in the future from other places. No one wants a thing to end. This thing has ended. I've already shaved Italy and Paris into the sink. I'll shower the rest away soon enough. This shirt will be the last of it. For now. There you go. I just realized that's actually the last poem in the book. I'm having such a good time on these trips, and there's all kinds of silliness and crazy things happening in the books. And then as I get closer to the end, I become like hyper aware. Oh no, this is all ending. So a nostalgia, a deep nostalgia for things that I just experienced starts to creep in to the latter poems in these travel books. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I want to thank Jennifer, Phillips, Lorraine McMillan, Christopher Bogart, Scott Norman Rosenthal, Rosemary Boehm, Amanda Harris, Lorraine Caputo, Gayle Bell, Diane, Elayne, Dees, Kathryn Perkins, Kathryn Paulsen, Duane, Herrmann, Marieta, Maglas, Aaliyah, El-Amin, Principe, Guity Jr., Richard Widerkher, Daniel Abernathy, and Judy Barrat for giving us a really wonderful set of all kinds of poems. Thank you so much for that. Our next show will be Sunday, June, I put 8th, but I think it's actually the 1st that it's happening. I don't know why I'm going to tell you that today. None of you are going to remember and put this in your calendar, but it's definitely in June. I'll tell you that much for sure. It's either June 1st or 8th. We're going to find out. Just save all of both days, ladies and gentlemen, and you'll be fine. Reminder, we're soliciting sponsors for our upcoming, just looking in the chat where Richard Widerkher says, thanks, Ick. You're welcome, Itchard. We're soliciting sponsors for our summer poetry contest. It's our 27th annual poetry contest. Anything that you donate will go directly to people who enter the contest. Our contest every year Hundreds of people enter. Every single person gets a prize just for entering. All those prizes come from sponsors. If you decide to sponsor, you get a free classified ad in our weekly emailed newsletter, and you get listed as a sponsor, and you can still enter the contest because contest entrants poems that get entered to the contest get sent to the judges blindly with your name removed, so it's all a fair and fun thing. The contest will start later on in July, but right now is the time to sign up as a sponsor. Check out our website, poetrysuperhighway.com/psh, for more info on how to go about doing that. Thanks everyone for being here. I'm going to click the Ask All to Unmute button in case you want to say hi to each other before we shut this thing down.
What time is the next reading? Do you know that much?
Great
Yeah,
job.
I do. It's always gonna, the readings are always at the same time. They're always at 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, and other times in other parts of the world.
Okay.
And there was once in the last year I had to change the hour for something, but generally speaking, every show we do is at that same exact time on a Sunday, on either June 1st or June 8th. I have to go back to the drawing board and remember which day it is and get it right on the calendar, but yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're a talkative bunch.
Yeah, yeah.